When celebrity friendships hit a public snag, the headlines move fast, and social media moves faster. That's exactly what happened after Selena Gomez's intimate wedding weekend to producer Blanco, when observers noticed one high-profile name conspicuously absent from guest lists, red carpets and wedding photos: Raisa, the actress who famously donated a kidney to Gomez in 2017. The missing presence prompted immediate speculation about a possible falling out, and for several days the rumor mill churned out theories and hot takes. Raisa, however, opted for a measured response, one that pushes back against gossip while acknowledging the real complexity of long-term friendships that have been played out under a bright public spotlight. The history that colors every headline. To understand why the absence mattered so much, you don't have to dig far. Raisa and Gomez have a shared narrative that reads like the kind of emotional arc reporters and fans love to summarize in a single line: childhood friends, a life-saving kidney donation, an enduring, if complicated, bond. That kidney donation, an act of profound generosity and risk, created an indelible connection and a public expectation that the two women would forever be close. Over time, as both women navigated careers, relationships and personal growth, their interactions and social media signals sometimes suggested a warm, ongoing friendship and at other times hinted at distance. Those zigzags, as Raisa herself has described similar dynamics in other conversations, primed audiences to see any perceived absence as meaningful. When Selena Gomez and Blanco married in a low-key ceremony attended by several notable stars, Raisa's name immediately became the focus of speculation precisely because she is both central to Gomez's past medical journey and a public figure whose presence, or lack thereof, is newsworthy. Fans and outlets began combing through posts, stories and timelines to find evidence of Raisa at the celebration. Her absence, combined with the history between the two, made a narrative of a snub or feud easy to spin. Raisa's response: steady, careful, and clear about boundaries. Raisa did not feed the flames. Instead, in interviews in the aftermath of the wedding, she struck a careful tone, one intended to correct inaccuracies without dramatizing the relationship. She denied rumors that she was angry or hostile, particularly pushed back against stories alleging confrontations about Selena's health choices after the transplant. Raisa called those stories nonsense, suggesting that the more sensational claims were not rooted in fact. Importantly, Raisa also emphasized gratitude and goodwill. She said she was very happy for Gomez, a line repeated in different interviews and contexts, that anyone would want for a friend what's best and be glad to see them live their life. She framed her kidney donation as an unconditional act, an offering that doesn't come with strings attached. That framing was deliberate. Raisa made the point that donating a kidney is not a transaction or a way to buy proximity or privileges in the recipient's life. It was given freely and should be seen as such. At the same time, Raisa didn't over-explain. She didn't confirm whether she'd been invited or whether scheduling or personal boundaries prevented her attendance. That absence of a concrete answer left room for ambiguity, and that's by design. Raisa's approach suggested that some parts of personal history are private, and that she would not let public curiosity turn an intimate story into fodder. Reading between the headlines, what the absence might, and might not, mean. When a public friendship shifts in visibility, people look for clean explanations: a fight, a betrayal, a single catalyst. Real life is usually messier. Raisa's phrasing, that friendships zigzag, that people grow on their own timelines, is an honest account of an experience many people recognize but rarely see described in celebrity news cycles. There are several plausible non-dramatic reasons for Raisa's absence from wedding photos and red carpets. She could have been invited but chose not to attend for personal reasons. She could have had a scheduling conflict. It's possible she was present but intentionally low profile, or the nuance could simply be that two people who shared a seismic event in their lives are now on different paths with differing levels of public involvement. None of these possibilities requires malicious intent. What the headlines often ignore is that relationships change without a villain, sometimes they simply move into a new form. That said, Raisa's refusal to confirm the invite status does leave room for continued gossip. In celebrity culture, silence gets misread as confirmation. Raisa's decision to prioritize privacy over performance is an implicit rebuke to a media environment that frequently demands spectacle rather than nuance. The reframing: generosity without expectation. One of the more striking elements of Raisa's response was her repeated effort to reframe the kidney donation in terms that resist transactional thinking. She compared acts of giving to simple, unconditional choices. A donation doesn't give the donor ongoing rights to someone else's life. That line of thinking pushes back on a public tendency to treat dramatic altruism as a currency that should guarantee loyalty or visibility. By making that point publicly, Raisa asserted her own agency and emotional boundaries. She made it clear she does not view her act as something that obligates Gomez to behave in a particular way. That statement is not just about the immediate story of the wedding, it's a broader commentary about friendship, autonomy, and how acts of care function in human relationships. What's likely to come next? For now, the story sits in a gray zone. Neither side has orchestrated a public reconciliation moment nor a dramatic reveal. That leaves space for multiple outcomes. Perhaps the two will drift quietly into a new, less publicly intertwined form of friendship. Perhaps, given time, they will speak more openly about what changed, or perhaps the moment will fade and be replaced by new headlines about other celebrity life events. Journalistically, the only developments that would decisively alter the public understanding would be direct statements from Gomez or Blanco clarifying guest lists or intentions, or a future joint appearance that signals renewed closeness. Until then, Raisa's measured response, denying rancor, expressing happiness for Gomez, and asserting the unconditional nature of her gift, is the clearest public record we have. The larger takeaway. Beyond the specific names and events, this episode is a useful reminder about how celebrity narratives are constructed and consumed. Public acts of sacrifice create expectations, social media silence is interpreted as motive, and privacy can easily be mistaken for guilt. Raisa's stance, a blend of private dignity and public clarification, pushes back against reductive storytelling. She is asserting that generosity does not demand public accounting, that friendships can evolve without scandal, and that some questions do not need immediate answers. At its core, Raisa's message is simple. She is proud of the help she gave and happy for her friend's new chapter, and she will not let rumor mongering dictate how she talks about the relationship. In an entertainment era hungry for feuds, that's a quietly radical posture, one that privileges human complexity over headlines.